Hello and welcome to the Global Dialogues. I'm Shireen Bhan, and joining me today is a man who's trying to revolutionize a 140-plus-year brand and take it forward. Wansaw Warnery, the CEO of Beiersdorf, joins us in India. For those of you who are watching this program, Beiersdorf in India is most commonly associated with the brand Nivea, a brand that has made its presence felt in India for generations. Wansaw, many thanks for joining us here on the Global Dialogue. Appreciate your time. Let me start by asking you about your view and outlook on India. As I pointed out, for India, Beiersdorf essentially means Nivea. When can it mean more going forward?
You know, it means Nivea since 1913. It was the first time when, we had a Nivea product which was sold in India. And since then, we have been building year after year a very good, a very strong presence in India. Nivea is the most trusted skincare brand for the fourth year and consecutive year. So really happy with the development of Nivea, but a lot to do. We are present in many product categories, but we are not present in the most important product category, which is face care, which is 60% of the total skincare market. And this is why I'm very happy to come today to India, because we are launching right now our first, Nivea face, products, specially designed for India, called Luminous, and I'm expecting a lot from this product.
Well, that's great to hear on the Luminous launch, but if you can give us a little bit more color on what this new launch will specifically mean as far as you're concerned. What does it do for you in the India market? What are you hoping to do? Because it's a fairly competitive space, Wansaw. What will be the key differentiator that will drive you here in India?
It's very interesting to see that globally, you have 29% of the people who have an issue linked with hyperpigmentation, 29%. In India, it's 37%. And we are coming with an ingredient which is called Thiamidol that we launched in the globe, in the world in 2018, which is the best anti-spot ingredient in the world. We have been testing this ingredient over and over in all countries, and it's the most successful ever launch of Beiersdorf with Nivea. And we've been working in the last 2-3 years to develop a specific offer for India, using the same concentration that we have in the rest of the world in terms of efficacy, but having, a packaging, having a product which is affordable, because Nivea is affordable. Nivea is a value for money brand, and we didn't want to make the mistake that others have done to come at the price which was too high. So we have a very good price. It's 500 rupees, and you can find the product online, offline. And this is our first real entry into the face care market. So we're expecting a lot from the launch now with Nivea. We're also using the same ingredient, but with a different formula, different concentration for Eucerin, which is our Derma brand that we're introducing this week, in the DermaCon in India. So we have a lot of hope, linked to this hyperpigmentation consumer expectation, which is developing across the world and particularly in India.
You talked about your strategy for the face care market here in India, but what are the trends that you're picking up on specifically as far as the Indian consumer is concerned? And I want to link this to your outlook on China. I remember you said that if you can succeed in China, you can succeed anywhere globally. So how different is India as a market for you, and what do you eventually expect to do here in India?
I mean, that what is very interesting when you look at Indian consumers, they move, from a market of cold cream, face care cream, to a much more sophisticated offer. We're talking about serums, we're talking about ingredients, we're talking about efficacy, and we are surfing on this wave. We're coming with the know-how of Beiersdorf, which is ingredients. Everything is based on ingredients, so Thiamidol, also soon Epicelline on anti-age, and we're developing formula which are delivering a true efficacy. And you're right to mention China. China also is obviously a very important market for this hyperpigmentation area, and we were lucky enough in November to get the first ever anti-hyperpigmentation ingredient validated by the regulatory authorities. So this is the first ever. So we are also a lot of hope for China, but will become in 2026. So 2025, this is a year of India. We have a lot of hope in terms of growth for Nivea, the mother brand, but also the fact that over the next 4 months, we will introduce We have already introduced Eucerin, but we'll come with La Prairie, which is the most luxury brand in the world, with Chantecaille, which is a very nice brand. So, in fact, between November 24 and June 2025, you will have the full portfolio of Beiersdorf launched in India, which proves, the importance of the Indian market for us and the fact that it is, the most strategic market we want to succeed in after, as I said, 20 years of, good build-up of the brand and good successes across the country.
Well, that's quite a statement, Wonso, you made there, that 2025 is going to be the year of India as far as Beiersdorf is concerned. So again, give us more details on the strategy specifically that you intend to follow. You said that it will be both online and offline across different price points with different brands addressing those different price points. So what could that mean in terms of sales growth for you?
But today, India is already one of the top 10 countries for Beiersdorf. And we have only 2 brands. We have, of course, Nivea. We have also Hansaplast. So we are missing the 3 other big brands, which is the one we are launching in India right now. So obviously, we are in the top 10 today. I'm expecting India to be in the top 5 pretty quickly. We have a fantastic ecosystem. We have an R&D center in India. We have a factory in India. So that's one of the only countries where we have the full, spectrum of activities. We have an extremely good team, with a strong leader. We've been also doing a pretty good job over the last 20 years. Often when you look at the history of a business, you see some mistakes, some failures. It's not the case for India. It was really a marathon. We've been growing every year. And now I think the fact that we are able to come with this new ingredient, and this is the first time we're coming with such a new ingredient with an offer which is designed for Indian consumers, is making us very optimistic because it's surfing on the wave of, sophistication of the market. It is clearly a big priority off and online. Online we've been doubling the business since last year, and we have a fantastic, partnership with Nykaa, with a lot of e-commerce players. It's also about digitalization. We talk about influencer marketing. We are no longer doing the classical TV that we used to do in the past when I was myself in marketing. We are using influencers. We are using, digital media to talk to our audience. So I think all the things happening, in India, and particularly the fact that there is, this increase of the middle class, who wants to take care of their beauty, want to take care of their skin, is something which is a fantastic accelerator for us. I think we have never felt so ready for India that in 2025, and this is why we have this extreme dynamism in launching 3 brands, in 6 months.
Right, so, the full suite of your products soon to be launched here in India. But Wonso, you were talking about digitalization and how that is now going to be driving growth for you. What about here in India specifically? You talked about your partnership with Nykaa, for instance. Give me the levers, the growth drivers for Beiersdorf here in India that you intend to focus on.
I think what I did, perhaps simply, is to go back to the history of Beiersdorf. It's very interesting to see that Beiersdorf, already 140 years ago, invented modern skincare. We invented the value for money brand, which is Nivea. We invented also Derma, the first dermatologic brand, Eucerin, was created by Beiersdorf. And then over the years, we lost a little bit this edge. We lost a little bit this focus. We were a bit too distracted by other product categories. So the first thing I've done is to say it's great to have a lot of product categories, but there is nothing more important than skincare. And the focus on skincare has been absolutely clear for each and every country, for every brand. The second element, I mentioned that to you in the beginning of the interview, the R&D engine. We are a fantastic team, of 1,000 researchers, some of them based in Mumbai, some of them in Hamburg, in Shanghai, in New Jersey, which have a fantastic know-how in skincare R&D. And I was able, to put more money, obviously, but also to strengthen the organization, to be sure that we get back to what we used to be, the motto of Beiersdorf. We find extraordinary ingredients and we use them for our brands. So it used to be Thiamidol in 2018. You will hear soon about Epicelline, an anti-age ingredient that we're launching right now, which is a fantastic, anti-age ingredient. We have other things coming in the acne also. And acne is a very interesting story for Indian. That 70% of Indian people have an issue with acne, while globally it's 40%. So you imagine also the potential also for a company like us to enter this market. So back to ingredient, and last but not least, an appetite for growth, an appetite for entering white spaces, and India was a white space. We were good with some product categories, but with only a few brands, So being more daring, bolder in entering China, India, even the US, Africa, where, we have some business, but we are not as big as we should be. And I think this recipe, is working pretty well. We are in a very dynamic market. Also, the beauty market is a great market. In bad years, you grow 4%. In good years, you grow up to 6%. We've been able to overperform the market and all our competitors in 23, in 24. Hopefully, in the last quarter, we'll see soon the results of our competitors. But there is clearly a new growth appetite for this company with brands which are, as you mentioned in the beginning, super well known and super respected by consumers. So that makes a pretty successful recipe for us, and this is why we are pretty successful in 24, in 23, and hopefully in 2025.
Well, Wonsa, I think the appetite for growth is being reflected as far as your market cap is concerned, and we've seen the markets reward that. But, you were talking about R&D and the focus on R&D. Let me understand from you, what is the percentage of R&D spends at this point in time? How do you create a culture of maximizing on your R&D returns? What are you doing differently today? Because you also talked about the fact that how, there was distractions that caused you to lose your way in the middle, but the focus is now sharply back on skincare. So how have you been able to do that?
That's a great question. In terms of investment, we spend 3% of our sales in R&D, which is the best in class. If you look at L'Oréal, they are exactly the same figures. So really, investing big on R&D, and we never question these figures. Even in difficult years, I know the COVID year 2020, we spent 3% of our net sales in R&D. I think what we have done is to refocus first the R&D on this search for outstanding ingredients. Moving away from perhaps what we call marketing innovation, which is more concept and claims, into true R&D discovery of new ingredients, and then being sure that we leverage them, on all our brands. We call that brand cascading. With the same ingredient, you can have a totally different formula and totally different story on Nivea, on Eucerin, on La Prairie and Chantecaille. And it's a pity, to use only one brand to leverage one ingredient. So we've been doing that with Thiamidol, which has been launched under Eucerin, Nivea, La Prairie, and next month we'll launch it under Chantecaille. We'll do that also with Epicelline, and all our countries, all our business units are focusing most of the investment on the products, which are using those new ingredients, because this is where we make the difference, and this is pretty paying off.
Well, renewed focus on using new ingredients, many of which you have patented. Wonsa, we are going to take a quick break, but don't go back anywhere. We're going to be back on the Global Dialogue and talk about Beiersdorf, the Nivea makers' plans for India when we're back. Stay with us.